Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's been a long 2 years since I've uploaded something, but that's because I've been busy moving across the country from the East Coast to California to go to PA school. So come join me in my clinical year for a week of my life as a PA student. I was considering doing this as a silent montage, but I'm a chronic yapper, so you'll just have to deal with that. I'm currently a second year PA student on my 7th rotation out of 9, currently in psychiatry in an inpatient setting. It's been super fun and actually much more interesting than I thought it originally would be. Being a PA student, my days usually start pretty early and I typically wake up at around 6:30 to get my morning started. My favorite breakfast has been avocado toast with Costco's rosemary parmesan bread with an egg on top. It literally keeps you full for hours and is super fast to make in the morning. I swear by it. And of course, no PA student would be complete without their choice of caffeine. My favorite lately has been Alani. I literally drink half of these a day. Sometimes if it gets a little crazy, I'll drink a whole Alani, but usually it doesn't really get to that point. Luckily, my commute to the hospital usually only takes half an hour, so I take that time to listen to my audiobooks. The first thing I do when I get to the hospital is chart review, which from a psychiatric standpoint involves checking the nursing notes to see if the patient was agitated overnight or needed any IM medications to calm them down, how adherent the patients are to their medications, if they've been attending group activities, and also checking for stable vital signs and stable lab work. Alright, just a quick word about this notebook. I have been loving it for my inpatient rotations like internal medicine, surgery, psychiatry, and I've heard people use this for ER as well. It's called an H&P notebook, and I especially love it because it has essentially a template that you can use to ask your patient questions. So it has like a space to write their name, admit date, birthday, room number, has the chief complaint, differential diagnoses right up here, a whole space to write HPI, past medical history, surgical history, hospitalizations, family history, basically everything that you need to ask in an H&P, it has it here. Once you fill this out for, the first day, usually day to day in an inpatient setting doesn't really change much. So I usually just take a sticky note and then attach it to the bottom here, and then just write the date and just any updates from that day. I think they also have an inpatient, notebook and also like a psychiatry notebook and a pediatrics notebook, but the H&P one I feel like is the most versatile. And also this book is like $20, so I was like, listen, I'm not trying to buy like multiple books, especially since I've been using this for 3 rotations now and I've only made it like this far simply because I update with post-it notes on each patient. I'm sure for ER, when you have to use 1 page per patient and you see a large patient load, you'll probably go through this book a lot faster. But for me, since I used it for internal medicine and psychiatry, it's literally the same patient, but you just see them like every day for 2-3 weeks. I feel like this workflow has been really helping keeping me organized and then also keeping it all condensed because you don't want to be carrying too many things with you either. So that was a quick note about the notebook. Let's go back to the vlog. After pre-charting on the patients, I'll go to the behavioral health unit to see patients on my own first, then present them to the resident, and then we finally present them to the attending. And after we do treatment team and round with the attendings, we're usually back in the student lounge to work on our notes. And depending on how fast you work, sometimes you can finish your notes super fast and then the resident will let you leave early. Other times you have lunch first and then review the notes with them like I did today, and then afterwards you are free. This is a pretty simplified rundown of my schedule, and honestly a lot of it depends on the attending schedule, but the inpatient setting isn't as daunting as many people would think. We are back home, back at the Airbnb that I'm staying at since this rotation is in LA and I live all the way in OC. But anyways, we are outside the hospital now. Honestly, my day-to-day in the hospital is very structured, which I love. You saw me, pre-chart on my patients, round on my patients, round with them with the resident, and then write my notes as well. So honestly, day-to-day in the hospital, it really doesn't change much. It's pretty much the same schedule, the same thing every single day, which I love. So the variety in my schedule usually comes from my time outside of the clinic. And I know a lot of first year PA students can sort of get scared about the EOR, the end of rotation exam, and how to study for that and how to manage all of the school assignments on top of going to clinic. So I figured now I can shift gears into showing you guys what I do to study for the EOR, since it's a lot different from studying or cramming for exams during didactic year. To start, usually what I do is I review the study guide. I'm not really sure who made the study guide, but I can definitely leave the link down below. Whoever made this study guide makes study guides for every single PA school like specialty, so like surgery, psychiatry, women's health, family medicine, internal medicine, you name it, they have it. And depending on which specialty you're on, some specialties will have more conditions to study versus not. I'm on my psych rotation right now, so honestly, it's not too many conditions to study, and it's typically a shorter blueprint than the other specialties. So then after I review the study guide, I go to this person's Quizlet page. Thank you so much, Marley. I will also leave a link for this down below. They did Quizlets for every single specialty, and then also broke it down in each specialty, every single like subcategory. So for example, the psych EOR, she lists psych EOR, and then she also lists, you know, substance related disorders, paraphilic disorders, personality disorders, OCD. I basically took all her Quizlets and then converted them into Ankis, just because I like that spaced repetition. I'm very much an avid Anki user. My heat map could be a little bit better, but honestly, for the most part, it's pretty darn good. I do Ankis usually at the end of the day. So after I review all the topics by week 3, weeks 4 and 5, which is where I'm at now, I usually do a whole bunch of practice questions. All right, just finished up those practice questions, and now we're on Ankis. I only have 126 today, so let's see how fast we can do this before I get distracted. All right, to wind down for the night, I'm going to continue watching my anime, have some dinner, and of course, after a long day, I love nothing more than to unwind with a drink. And today's drink will be a Capri Sun Warm Waters fruit punch. Alright guys, the whole inspiration behind restarting my YouTube channel is here. I literally started seeing like TikToks and YouTube videos of reviews of this like DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and literally it looks so good. Hopefully from this point on my vlogs will be in higher quality, since right now I'm just using my iPhone camera. But this is literally such a big camera for the shy like vlogging girlies, because it's not as big as an iPhone is, and also since I'm traveling the next few months, I thought it would be so exciting to film a little travel vlog with this. Here is the carrying case, here is the camera. Oh my gosh, look at her. She's literally so tiny. Like, this is my hand, and I'm like 5'1", so I have pretty small hands, but it's literally less than like my hand. That's crazy. Oh, that looks so fresh. And then the last thing I have to unbox here is this little like carrying case, which is so fun. Protective cover, they call it. And then the wide angle lens, which let me take it off of this one. Oh, so freaking cool. I'm so excited to learn more about this. And the coolest thing is that there's an app that this can connect to, and then I can literally like see myself. I can literally see myself on the screen and monitor. So even though the screen is super small, like say you're super far away and you can't really see, you can monitor all of that and control the camera through your phone. I also have the active like face tracking on right now. So no matter like how low I go or where I go, like this is just so fun. It's so fun to do. Okay, I'm sorry if I caused anyone some dizziness, but this is literally like the coolest thing I own right now. So I'm excited to get to use this a little bit more. This is like so fun. I've been doing this for the past 10 minutes. Enough playing around with this, because I could literally just sit here for hours trying to figure all this out. I'm gonna go to the gym, come back, do some studying, and then later tonight to wind down, I will let myself figure out this camera business. All right, I'm back from the gym. I just had a great gym sesh and now I'm wanting to get some assignments done. So this changes depending on which school you go to, but usually in addition to clinic time, logging our patients and having to study for the EOR, we'll also have a few school assignments that we have to do every rotation. For my school specifically, they make us write 4 SOAP notes, so 1 a week, even though we have a 5-week rotation. The last week is meant for, studying, catching up, things like that. So we have 4 SOAP notes. We also have to do 12 aquifer cases, and that's just cases that are online and walks you through, for example, someone who's 54 with depression or 23 with borderline personality disorder. So those cases are based on, what rotation you're on. We also have to do a pre and post rotation reflection, just our thoughts on how we felt at the beginning of the rotation and then what we think after the rotation usually. Another thing that we have to do is also called a CAT project, which is a critical appraisal topic. Essentially what it is just looking at the research and comparing, 2 different types of treatments and how effective they are in, treating a specific condition. That's usually called the PICO question. It's just comparing, is this drug better than this drug? Or is this treatment better than that treatment? Specifically for psych, I decided to do my CAT project on the effectiveness of dialectical behavioral therapy versus schema therapy for patients with borderline personality disorder. All right, so I'll be working on this for a little while. I don't expect it to take too long, but again, sometimes reading papers can just be a little bit tedious there. So let's go get started on this. Hello, I am back from clinic. Today was the usual rounding by my own and then rounding with the residents, writing the notes, checking in on the patients, chart review, things like that. So I figured I would show you guys what I do after clinic, and today's to-do is to submit my SOAP note. So like I said before, I have to submit 1 SOAP note every single week. So I thought I would review with you guys what I wrote. This was the initial intake. So it has a little bit of everything in here. I took out all of her, patient identifier information. So I just wanted to briefly review everything before submitting. So basically, she was found walking topless in the streets, was very restless and crying while walking in and out of traffic. So she was brought in by the police. She said that people were bullying her and walking around her. They thought that she was doing something bad, which she believes wasn't true. So in psych, there's a lot of quotation marks, just so you can really get, if someone was reading this note and they weren't there, they could really get the vibe of the patient interview with just these quotes alone. And then she also believes that she's being controlled through lasers for the past 5 years and that her cell phone was hacked. So lots of paranoid delusions here. And in terms of past medical and psychiatric history, she basically denied and said, I've never been on medications, I've never been to therapy, I don't have any illness. We later confirmed with her ex-boyfriend that she was diagnosed with schizophrenia a few months ago. She's been hospitalized a few times in Arizona. In terms of her social history, she has a history of amphetamine use, and she was positive for amphetamine use in the ED. It was also positive for benzos, but I believe that's because the ED or police or whoever initially gave her a calming benzo. The biggest thing in psychiatry is the mental statics exam, and the biggest thing is, seeing if the patient is aware of where they are, what year it is, why they're there, things like that. She also had a lot of paranoid delusions surrounding, thought insertion, being controlled, manipulated. This was interesting too. I wanted to see about her thought abstraction, and I was, saying how is an apple and an orange similar? And usually you would want the patient to say something like, oh, they're both fruit, because that shows abstract thinking. But her way of thinking was pretty concrete, as in they're focusing on the physical aspects of the fruit. And she said they're similar because of the color and the taste, which isn't even right. We weren't entirely sure what the diagnosis is, but likely causes are substance-induced psychosis, because amphetamine use can cause that, or decompensated episode of schizophrenia due to her past history. She does meet hold criteria. We're going to start a few medications for her there. The last thing is just a reflection. This is not part of the usual SOAP note, but my school likes me to add this on just to, talk about my thoughts about the case. It's basically what a SOAP note is. It's not too difficult, especially if you are already writing daily notes for your patients at the clinic. It's not too hard to have it transfer over pretty well. All you have to do is just take out the patient identifying information and fix up the format and everything. All right, so I'm going to submit this SOAP note and then work on some practice questions, do some Ankis, and hopefully we'll be able to go to the gym afterwards too. Come spend the day with me as I spent 5 hours in line to get a free Awala today. But first things first, we have to get up bright and early to go to Porto's, my favorite. We got to stack up on the caffeine and the food, of course. By the time we made it to the Awala pop-up, it was already 8 a.m. and it literally took us so long to walk up this hill and get in line. The line was 0.3 miles long, which, when you think about it, isn't too long, but look at all of these people. And this clip sped up 20 times. We settled in at around 8 a.m. and had breakfast, did a little bit of crochet. By the time it was 10:45 a.m. we had made very little progress in the line, but we were still in high hopes. Chad from Awala Marketing showed up at around 11:30, and even S-Scoops came to the party to get in on the Awala action. At around 12 is when people from the Awala crew started coming around with iPads and basically offering people to put down their name and their email to get their free Awala shipped to them if they don't want to wait around in the line, because at this point they were unsure of whether or not people would be able to get in the store. At 1:30, we were less than 300 feet from the storefront, and Awala workers were basically taking people's orders on which tumblers they wanted and handing them out to the people in the front in case they wanted to leave and not go into the store. We said no to the Awala workers because we really wanted to go in the store to get the merch, but it wasn't until we stepped inside that we realized there was literally no merch left inside, and they also were handing out Awalas randomly. They said that there was no way to accommodate everyone's request, so they just started handing them out and basically saying, if you want to trade outside. Listen, I love Awala as much as the next person, and this pop-up was beautifully made. I just wish it was more organized, and we were all so disappointed after waiting hours in line to get an Awala and also to get our choice in merch. To go in and be told that there's no merch left, and also we weren't able to pick our colors, was very disappointing, although I'm very grateful that we even got a free product in the first place. To get over our sadness about not getting any merch, we had to stop by Koreatown to get some jjajangmyeon and sweet and sour pork, and then also wash it down with a refreshing bingsu after spending hours in the sun. Finally back home. Safe to say that this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, as in I will never be doing this again in my life, because oh my god, what a hot mess it was. Awala, thank you so much for the free sip, but you definitely need to do better. All right, that was a very long day. I'm still very sweaty from the sun. LA, you are absolutely insane, but I have my Awala with me. This will definitely serve me well during clinicals. I am not much of a coffee drinker. I'm more of an Alani drinker, as you guys know, but this will be good for like matcha lattes and things like that. But today was to show that PA students can still have fun on the weekends. You definitely get more of that during clinical year as compared to didactic year. I hope you enjoyed a week in my life as a PA student. Please let me know if you would like more of any particular content, like more discussion about what I do at clinic, or more discussion on how I go about school assignments, how I manage studying, what I do outside of clinic, literally whatever. I'm trying to figure out what to vlog more of and what people want to see more of. So please let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for supporting my vlog, my first vlog back in a very, very long time. I hope that you enjoyed this. Again, if you did, please subscribe. But until then, I'll see you on the next video. Bye!